We are live. Welcome, everybody, to a very special Thursday episode of Punk Rock Libertarians Podcast, episode 437. I'm here with James Babs.
Hello.
K-Wags.
Hey, everybody.
Nikki P is stepping up to the plate here.
Would it be?
And a very special guest, Chrissie Mayr. Welcome.
What's my cool nickname?
Well, make one up. Tell us what do you want to be referred to on the Punk Rock Libertarians debut here?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I was literally just creating a baseball character for myself on this baseball video game. It's funny, and I had to I don't know the name of this game, but you can go so specific, like how big your head is, how big your thighs are, your temple distance, height, weight, and I was like, oh, just make me like the smallest man possible. You can't even you can't be less than 150 pounds. You can't be less than 5'5". I don't know.
It is opening day today.
There's no women in the game.
No, thank God. At least we still have baseball video games.
This is bullshit.
Yeah,
absolute bullshit.
But I can be a dude with long hair. I'll just be a very small dude with long hair that somehow was able to make it into.
I'm gonna be honest. I would have spent all of my time just trying to make the fattest ass woman I could on the game, like one of those creepy women you see with like the concrete in their ass from like South America.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah, like a botched BBL or something, a botched ass implant. Well, apparently everyone's taking their ass implants out these days. I guess I don't have a cool nickname.
You have to get them serviced, I think, like every couple of years.
Oh, like a tune-up.
You know, just get them. I don't know, repack, refirmed up, whatever.
That makes sense because actual implants only last you like 10 years, like breast implants.
What about penile implants? How long do they last?
That's a good question. I guess until it breaks.
Yeah, do you have to go in regularly, or do you gotta get it pumped up every now and then?
Comes with like a hand control, I think, like a little air compressor. It's like an auto compressor, like an air compressor that you inflate your tires with.
It'd be so funny, like you get a penile implant, they make you buy this. Oh, you gotta buy this like compressor thing, and it's basically just like a regular hand. You're like, I paid $300 for this. I could have just jerked myself off.
Well, so I'm imagining like the low market version of it, where it's got like the actual blow up stem somewhere back by your taint. Like, honey, you got to blow it up again to make it work.
Mm-hmm. It'd be so funny if there was a component to it where like you did have to have a woman like blow you or something. Like, sorry, this is just what you have to do to like bring it back to, like what do you call it when a store like puts their stamp of like their seal on it, factory
warranty.
Yeah, something like you gotta get back to
certified.
Factory certified. Yeah. Like, sorry, honey.
Refurbished.
You gotta put the nuts in your mouth, both of them.
The quality check.
Quality control, yeah.
Good Lord.
So we got
That's a job that AI can't take away from us.
Oh, it's coming. It's just a matter of time. Don't worry.
I'm still waiting for AI to happen. This thing that they keep touting as AI is hilarious and it's not AI at all.
Other people, you can't afford an AI car yet or any of the other things. But
have you heard about the ChatGPT competitor, Right Wing GPT?
Really?
Yeah, I was listening to No Agenda podcast, and this shit is real.
I haven't heard about it, but
funny.
I know enough.
They should fight each other. They should fight each other in a rap battle.
So,
yeah, who can roast the other one better? That's who wins.
So I've met a bunch of computer programmers that actually know how to take the guardrails off of ChatGPT, like all of the extra crap that they put on there to make it a left-wing thing.
Well, we've talked about Dan, the do anything now mode, right? Where you can sort of trick it into bypassing its woke censorship.
Yeah.
I think I was in Dan mode for all of my 20s.
But yeah, because one of the guys I know from a mastermind I'm in, he actually installs custom versions of ChatGPT for businesses.
Like this one's extra evil, or like this one's
somebody switched
even more ruthless.
Evil.
Well, what's actually ridiculous is if you go in there, it's became a thing because like I think it was some big like Pixabay or something like that actually got like a Pixabay logo on one of the photos that came out of it. So like anything you put in there can kind of come back out at some point in time. And so, like, for business purposes, you don't want to be using one. Like, you don't want to be feeding all of your data into something that can spit it out to everybody else in the middle of something.
Wow. Give me an example of that.
Why would you give this access to your corporate secrets?
Well, because that's what you want. That's what you want artificial intelligence in the first place for. You can't fire your employees.
Oh, you're like, okay, here's my December sales numbers. Tell me what I did wrong. Magical ChatGPT. I'm not buying that.
It doesn't. The thing is like what it does now. I don't understand. Like, I get the fictional value that they think this is going to have, but it is certainly not realizing that dream anytime soon in my world.
I think what the science fiction dystopian storytellers didn't really prepare us for is that there will be an artificial intelligence that rules us. It's just going to be retarded, and living under it is not going to be quite. It's not going to be Terminator.
Wait, like Meet Joe retarded? Like Joe Biden retarded?
It's just gonna completely go off the rails. I mean, it might accidentally wipe out humanity, just as but who knows?
Yay!
Yeah. So I was listening. So your latest special's out live from January 6th, and I want to talk about that later on. I'm sure we all want to talk about that. But this was fucking hilarious. So yeah, you're about to hit the road soon, right? Or
and by the road I mean Staten Island next Friday. But then Staten Island, Jersey. Then I'll be in Vegas on the 27th, and Dallas May 5th and 6th. Richmond, Virginia, August 9th, and Houston, August 11th.
Nice.
Do I need to ask what that machine is in the picture next to Chrissy? Did you ask for that advertisement placement? Or
that's the newest Hitachi Magic Wand model that comes with separate attachments. Yeah,
looks a little dangerous. Yeah, not for the novice.
It gets
user.
the job done though. It's nobody said pleasure would be pretty.
I like all the extra batteries that comes with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that gets off everyone in the whole house.
Yeah.
So what is this this special live from January 6th? Are you an
let's play a little clip. Let's play a little clip.
A little snippet. Somebody made a little cartoon.
And I don't know how to put this, but I look at the Biden administration and I'm like, he's retarded. Biden is retarded. And I can say this because I know personally I'm retarded on my mom's side. We had a retarded great uncle. And I know because I look at the Biden administration, I see what he does. Oh, look what he did. He signed this bill. He did this thing. He put forth this thing. And I'm like, wait, this sounds very similar to when I would go visit my retarded Uncle Roy at the nursing home in Freeport. And they'd be like, look what Roy made. He made a ceramic Christmas tree. It lights up. And I would look at that vase and that Christmas tree and I'd be like, there's no fucking way he made that. Because he's retarded. He puts socks on his hands. He can't get dressed by himself. Like, I know that every time I visit Roy, this is the work of many handlers, many people, many nurses' aides that have to, and so I go, okay, that's a nice vase, but I know you didn't make that. I know that was a team effort. And that is exactly how I feel about the Biden administration, because I look what he did and I go, no. He still thinks it's 2020, like he's retarded. That was a group effort. The jig is up.
Oh God, cackling Kamal.
That is so good.
That's
wow.
Bravo.
Thank you guys. That was so sweet of you to play that. Yeah, my first stand-up comedy album live from January 6th. I filmed it on January 6th, I think 2021, right? Because it came out last March, right? No, it came out 2022.
Oh no, let's check this out.
Oh my God. Wow. We filmed it January 6th, 2022. It came out March of 2022. So it's just now been out a year. Oh my God.
So here's look at how much even more retarded he is now. Right.
Oh my God. I think he's still in office. It's wild.
So why, when I go to Spotify, can I not listen to the album? You're supposed to be on uncancelable records, and the album.
I think you have to buy it on. It's on iTunes and Amazon right now. I think I was trying to earn money But who knows? Maybe I can. I guess I could maybe make it free now. But it did trend. It was number
Don't
one
knock your order.
on iTunes and Amazon, and it's true because someone made me a plaque.
Nice.
For a good
Cool.
month. For a good month. Yeah,
Nice.
the guy who produced my album made this for me because it was number one for like a ridiculously long time, which all thanks to you guys, the fans. It's amazing if you can even reach number one for a day on Amazon or iTunes, but it was up there the better part of a month. So I think I just got really lucky. The first half of the album is all about January 6th, and then the second half is just like my jokes over the last like 10 years or so. But I tried to like link it all with the common theme.
See, it's funny you say that because like I'm into books and like talk to people that write books and stuff. And if you can get two people to buy your book, you're going to be an Amazon bestseller in some category.
That's
So
great.
It's funny,
So at least two people
Category.
bought the album. That's good to know.
Yes.
Well, now you're also getting the punk rock libertarian bump, which
Right. Which is why I'm here.
We do have several listeners that I think are going to be interested in this.
Good. I hope
all 5
I hope-
of them.
I mean,
all
if-
5 of them check it out.
If nothing out, I'm completely nerding out over here because I actually am a Chrissie Mayr fan, as it would be.
Wow.
Well, like I'm a nerdrotic fan, which means I have to be a Chrissie Mayr fan because
Oh, yeah.
kind of goes hand in hand there.
Oh yeah. Well,
How's the
yeah, thanks for
transition
watching.
to Rumble going?
It is. I mean, I'm still on YouTube. I am streaming. Everything is copied over to Rumble, and when I'm able to, I stream on Rumble as well. It just takes like a bit more effort to set up a live stream on Rumble. Maybe I just haven't figured out an easier way to do it, but you got to do a separate like kind of intro video each time. But I'm glad that it's there. I do have some concerns, as do a few others, about the kind of inflated numbers that Rumble is showing. Like they have this system where if you even like pass through it.
You think
I
they're
don't know.
hosing advertisers, or what are they doing?
I don't know. I think I've just I can't prove it. I've just heard things.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do find that my numbers are definitely higher on Rumble than they are on YouTube by a lot.
Yeah.
I
but-
just like to hope that that's because conservative people like me more.
Yeah, it's hard to know. It's like a brand new thing, but I have, really high hopes for it. I'm glad it exists.
Seems like a
we
lot of
have to
shows
break
have,
the
like-
monopoly.
A lot have part 1 on YouTube and then we're going to go do the part we can't talk about on YouTube over on Rumble, right? And then like try to get people to transition that way.
Yeah, it's good. And it's definitely a free speech platform. Like you can talk about things that you can't talk about on YouTube, all sorts of topics. So
Styx Hexenhammer's been doing like specific content that only goes on Odyssey and Rumble for years. So you want
Yeah.
all his material, you go there.
That's how a lot of people have been going lately because it's just pathetic. The censorship that's happening on those platforms, and then
Have
they
you
don't
guys-
even tell you what the fuck whatever you said or did or whatever the case may be. So fuck them.
that's what's really frustrating about YouTube is you'll get strikes and they'll just say what category of strike you're in. They won't really tell you specifically unless you have something like a partner manager that can go in and get more of an idea.
How many strikes do you have?
Oh, I mean, they wear away after some time. I think I've had at least 3, but not all at the same time. So
You need to up them numbers. Most of the people I know on YouTube always have 2, and they're just dreading that third
Oh,
one and
no.
hoping the second one goes
Just
away. before it comes in.
periodically say vaccines are safe and effective. Just if you just say that
Super
every
safe
15
and
minutes,
effective.
the bots assume you're one of their people and they let you be.
I'm on my 14th booster.
Don't ever have James Lindsay. I think that's the real thing. That's what gets everybody booted.
Oh, really?
Oh, James Lindsay's.
I love James Lindsay. Yeah, I guess he just keeps it too real.
He talks about ESG. That's the line they don't want anyone crossing.
Yeah. Yeah, don't mess with the T squad or the
Or the T
The
squad.
CRT.
They,
Yeah.
they seem to be fine when we talk about how Joe Biden is a pedophile, though. That doesn't like.
No, you have to be
Seems to be
careful
fun.
with that
'Cause
word.
he is.
You can't. It's like the bots. They scan for specific words, and if you say the wrong word on your show, they kick you off.
Vaccines are
give
safe
you a
and
strike.
effective, and pedophiles are just another sexual minority that needs to be protected.
Have you ever watched The Quartering? Because Jeremy Hambley is the best about making up names that like don't trigger it.
Really?
Oh, like the guys from WW2. Anytime you say Nazi, and so he'll like actually read articles, and like he's gotten so many of these down that like he reads them with the new things that he says. Like I believe it's people who like children in place of pedophiles. So like he'll read an
People who
article. And
That's great.
yeah. So like he's saying what it means, but like it doesn't actually use the things that trigger the algorithm.
He's very good at coming up with substitute words.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's fantastic.
Using
What's the
Orwellian language against just doing the opposite, the inverse. It's
Pretty much.
That's clever. That's
Well,
pretty
the
What's the
good.
biggest he is
substitute for Nazi?
The guys from
A
WW2.
German enthusiast? I don't know.
Oh shit.
A Ukrainian national, I think, is what they call it, like a
Yeah,
Ukrainian patriot.
Azov battalion. Yeah.
That's
Right,
funny.
a national hero of Ukraine.
Yeah, so that's kind of how you went down kind of got into politics, Chrissy, just like the censorship and just seeing Clown World, because you weren't really involved. And you just recently, didn't you just host like with Larry Sharp, a libertarian debate?
Yeah, that
How'd
was really
go? I
cool.
mean,
I love
okay.
Larry Sharp. He is actually
Hey, he's
somebody I
big.
credit with my, what is it? Gold pilling, yellow pilling, yellow pilling, yellow pilling.
Yellow pill and gold pill.
It was
Okay.
through conversations with him that I realized I was no longer really could identify with being a Democrat. And I was like, wow, I guess, yeah, I really am more libertarian. He's the first politician I've ever really met, spoken to, connected with, thought he was a cool guy, like actually worthy of office and having power. He's just like a real person. I just was like, wow, he made a lot of sense.
And he's one of our worst. Imagine like if you get to meet the
really?
best, you know, like yeah.
You guys don't like him?
I
No,
love Larry.
I don't
but
know.
he's
I don't really know.
I like him all right.
I've met him
milk
at
toast,
the
but-
convention in Reno, the libertarian, or not Reno, in Orlando. That was but yeah, I think he's great to bring people in. I think he's a good, but then once I don't know,
Soft
like
landing.
Babs is a grizzled libertarian.
We're pretty
He's-
hardcore around here.
Yeah,
Except for
we've been in
Kyle.
the game
Kyle's a
for a while.
statist.
Yeah, Kyle's still he's still normie statist sometimes. He bridges the gap though. He keeps us in the loop, but you
Look, I
need
miss
those
Kyle.
people to kind of like
Yeah.
kind of gold pill people, like you said, Chrissy. You need to like, bring them in and like, hey, the water's warm. Come on in, check this out.
You don't feel like there was a genetic component to him being able to, gold pill you, do you? Like just
What do you
something in
mean?
like
Because he's half black?
something in like the redhead and the tall black man, like
Really? Well, I'm not a real redhead, so
okay.
sorry, burst the bubble.
I don't think it matters. I got real dumb when I was a blonde in high school.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it'll have
When-
that effect on people.
Back
So
when
you're
my
on
grandma
gas-
was a dyed blonde, it was terrible.
You're on Gas Digital, correct? Or
Oh
involved with
yeah, I'll
them?
jump on Real Ass Podcast from time to time. That's probably the one I'm on most
So like
frequently.
Dave Smith, as he, gold pilled you, or Robbie the
No,
Fire.
I've actually like seen Dave Smith in passing, like maybe once or twice, but we've never really like chatted or
Really?
done any shows together. He does Legion of Skanks. I maybe think I was on once for like a special Halloween episode a couple of years ago, but I've never really
Yes,
like
Skank.
connected with him.
Okay. I just
think
figured
he-
like in the
it's
New
'cause
York
he's-
comedy scene, like you guys would cross paths.
Yeah, he's
at various
like
shows.
we're both, I guess, on the road a lot. But yeah, I think Legion of Skanks would be the only opportunity I would have to bump into him.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. I'm surprised he hasn't had you on Part of the Problem yet.
Right. What the hell?
Like, you've
I
made
don't
enough of
know.
a name for yourself the past 2 years that like it's-
Maybe he doesn't know I am.
surprising.
I would love to have him on mine at some point, but I don't know. Yeah.
Let's make this happen.
What you
Like,
got to do
Or
for
Robbie
me?
the
man.
Fire.
You got to
How
do
about
me a
Michael
favor.
Malice?
What
I
would
think
you
Michael
like,
Malice
Nikki?
would be a good one too.
You,
for you.
you need to get Clint
Malice I've
Russell.
had on. He's great. Yeah.
Okay.
You need to
cool.
get
Not
Clint
since he's
Russell.
put out his latest book, so it's been a while.
Oof.
I think I had him on after he put out the Anarchist Handbook, or it might have been right before, actually. So it was a couple years ago.
Anyways, I was saying you need to get Clint Russell on Nerdrotic to actually explain what ESG is doing and why Hollywood is going along with it. Because they keep asking, I don't understand why these companies are doing this. And essentially, they're going to run to the bottom line. But the point is that ESG means the government's going to be paying for the bottom line.
Yeah.
They do this shit so that, like, BlackRock has been lobbying for 2 years to get the government to backstop any organization that follows its ESG goals.
Right.
So
That's
they're going to get their money one way or
Imagine
the
how
other.
great that's going to be. It's going to make. Imagine how good the movies will be with that backstop.
Those movies are already pretty bad. I don't know how much more.
How could they get worse?
If you start losing money because of your woke philosophy, don't worry. You've got the Federal Reserve Bank right here to assume your liabilities and issue your central bank digital currency. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and isn't there a group that takes into consideration your ESG, and it's something like, well, based on that, it gives you a certain score, and then like based on that, that's it has to do with like how many investors you get, and it's like something larger and kind of more globally that has to do with your ESG rankings. Is it called DEI? I don't know.
How's it kept score? Like, I wonder, like, what's a good score? Like you have a good credit score, and any ideas on what your credit or your ESG score might be?
Mine probably pretty low.
Yeah, I think we all are very low.
What kind of carbon emissions are you guys generating? I mean, I leave my truck idling in the driveway to try to do my part, but
yeah, I use a lot of like aerosol dry shampoo, so that can't be good.
I never even heard of this before. It's a social score. Yeah, sorry.
Social credit score. Damn,
Yeah.
Pat, where you been?
for business,
Right?
but for businesses. So if you comply, you're gonna get access to certain funding that is only going to be funding like super woke, climate alarmist kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and it affects what kind of like investors.
It stands for corporate social responsibility.
Yeah.
Right.
Environmental, social, and governance. So
it's that governance part.
Oh, sorry, that's CSR. I read the wrong one. Environmental, social, and governance. Okay.
And you see it. You see how companies.
That basically means the earth, the people, and the government. It's like freaking everything.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
So if I like buy an electric car, does that make my score go up?
Oh hell yeah!
I found an investment fund that's supposedly the opposite. It's like all the companies that have bad ESG scores or whatever. It's like the opposite. So we'll see what the market says about like which kind of company is going to do better.
So I had a thought about this earlier. Like at work, a lot of people have their pronouns in their emails, and it's like kind of a virtue signal to be like, I'm down with the with advertising that or supporting, I guess, the transgender cause or something. I don't know. It makes me a little uncomfortable that, people feel the need to do that or they do that. And it's like, okay,
what are your
that person's probably a
to me, it demonstrates just a spinelessness. It's just like, yep, I'm falling in line. I'm not going to make waves. I'm doing what everybody else is doing. I'm doing what's asked of me.
Or take it to the next level. Include not just your pronouns, include your adverbs.
And also like penis
your
size,
adjectives, like
cup
my
size,
adjectives
all of it
are brilliant and handsome.
Yeah.
Right. Like
I you don't work in the corporate world, I can tell. James. I can't. I'm not putting anything crazy in there. I don't put anything in there. I just have my name. Like I don't like to politicize everything.
Oh, you just put your name. Oh, so you're transphobic. Oh,
wow, you're not an ally.
Well, yeah, exactly. I saw a thing. They had this in hockey, in NHL hockey. They're having all these fights, or not physical fights, but like disputes over the jerseys. They want to have the guys wear these rainbow colored jerseys for the warm-ups to support the LGBTQ community. And some players don't want to wear the jerseys, and so they're battling over this. And I'm like, and then I made a joke. I was like, I can't wait for like abortion rights jersey night. It's just everything's politicized. Everything is like, what side are you on? What team are you on? We can't even enjoy a hockey game because we have to divide the team into left and right. and it's annoying to me that we do it.
Maybe there's a way to put them on opposing teams and then just let them brawl on the ice.
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
Wait,
Like
did you mean let them play hockey?
rainbows versus black flags. I don't know.
The Trumpers or something like that. I don't know what the sides would be, but
American
that's
flag
fun. It's a funny
versus
idea.
rainbow flag.
And like their team can be body positive. Like anybody can play. It's going to be equitable. Like everyone's going to get to score the same number of points.
You don't even have to
no
know
matter
how to play
good they are.
hockey. That's how equitable it's going to be.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just pissed. It makes me feel like I have to feel some sort of way about trans people, and I don't. Like, you got a trans dick. That's cool, man. I'll tug on it if you want me to. Whatever. Well, I'm not going to call you a woman. You're not a woman.
I'm good on that.
Nikki's
That's where I draw the line.
Oh, Nikki's ridiculous. That's all.
Yeah, it is.
I just don't why I'm supposed to hate people for that. Like, it's taking it too far.
It's being pushed. The culture war is getting hot now with this recent recent shooting.
Well, at least somebody's finally arming the trans kids, right? I mean,
yeah. That's equity right there.
Yeah.
I want to see the manifesto. They have a manifesto. They won't release it.
They're not going to. I doubt it's going to come out.
I don't
it's
like
actually
them
a woman
releasing
manifesto. Don't misgender the manifesto, please.
It's a woo manifesto.
I don't like them releasing the manifestos, but it is super, super ridiculous that this is the one time that they don't release the manifesto when it's like super lefty heavy. Like, come on, guys.
See, I think it's up to you. If you're a mass shooter, it's up to you to get your manifesto out there first, right? Seriously, you're going to wait and see if the police release your manifesto unedited?
Get it out there
first, right?
Was it a physical manifesto? They didn't post it on Reddit or anything?
I haven't seen it or heard. I mean, I just heard they have one.
Well, see, that's the thing. This is amateur hour. They're not even a good school shooter.
It's in the r/manifesto.
I mean, shouldn't it be the headline on like "R trans"? Like, isn't that where it belongs now?
Trans.
Well, now they're having like days of vengeance here. Let me pull up the docs.
Yeah, on April Fool's Day of all days.
Right. Like
I heard we're doing the bank run
who's
on
having
April
days
1st.
of vengeance? It doesn't sound very festive. But
do we have like a final on how many schools were shut down the other day for threats?
Yeah.
Last I heard was there's 90 schools yesterday.
Shouldn't the vengeance be coming from like the victims' families? Isn't that the point of vengeance?
Yeah, it's just
Not
so
the problem,
backwards.
But the shooter is the victim, according to all the articles.
No, this is being organized by the Trans Radical Activist Network.
Okay, hold on. It was already in the works. So
right.
Yeah, it's. I guess
let's
this
just
is
keep going with it.
This person just jumped the gun. They couldn't wait.
I think they're mad that that person got killed.
Probably, yeah.
Well, they just had an insurrection down at the Tennessee Capitol.
Did
they had a trans die-in today.
Yeah.
Did you see that floating around on Twitter today?
Oh yeah,
it's fucking insane.
Transurrection.
But
funny.
Transurrection. But what was your experience there on January 6th?
That's what it's called when you get turned on by Blair White.
Look, I'm sorry. If you don't get turned on by Blair White, there's something wrong with you. You can pretend that's not there.
So, Chrissy, you're somewhat of an insurrectionist yourself. Is that right?
Are you
yeah. I do. I dabble in going to DC a couple times. No, I just went like November, December, January for all the rallies just to cover it from a sort of like citizen journalist point of view, because I felt like it was being covered really unfairly by the news. So I was just, shocked with how the day kind of turned out. But now I understand why they had to make us look like the enemy so that people would be afraid.
Did you get questioned or prosecuted or
interrogated? No, the FBI called the house once, but that was it.
Did you invite them in for coffee? Did it come to your house? Kyle has had the FBI come to his house one time. This was years
He's on
ago.
great terms with cops.
Ooh.
Yeah, someone posted, commented under my comment on Facebook, and they took it as a threat against law enforcement. and I guess it was reported to the Michigan police, and then
This
they
never gets
contacted
old. I'm
the
sorry.
Michigan FBI, and then they contacted the Baltimore FBI, and some agents actually came to my house, and I was like, I don't know that person. I don't know. People comment on your stuff on Facebook. It doesn't. I don't know. I
Just
have no
don't open
idea.
the door.
I don't know
for
what he's
listeners,
planning.
when you're in the when your time comes, just don't open the door. Okay. Like
Yeah.
really, they coming to question you about a Facebook comment. Just don't even talk to them.
I
Well,
mean, in
yeah,
general, that's the best advice. Don't open the door for cops ever.
I thought it was interesting how responsive they were to a potential threat against law enforcement. I mean, if somebody threatens you, they do not care, but they're very responsive to threats against law enforcement. So
you have been contacted since going to January 6th, or your involvement
do
just
you
doing
give
the
them regular
like doing
briefings?
these interviews?
What?
No, I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh yeah, no, just a one phone call.
Oh, okay. Because I met
Yeah.
people. There was this was about maybe a year ago when there was a rally just north of Baltimore in this town of Bel Air because they were protesting the county. They were trying to push the jab on healthcare workers. So there was a big protest, and I met quite a few people that were at January 6th that were just there, and they had the FBI come to their homes here in Maryland, and they were just
People have
there,
been
like, or
prosecuted
they took a
Yeah.
for being in
picture.
the
They took a
vicinity.
picture at the rally, and they're like, "We saw this picture. We came across." I'm like, Jesus
Wow.
Christ! Like,
I feel like you guys missed the subtext of what she said. She said she's only taken one call. She didn't say anything about how many she's like sent out to the FBI.
Sent out?
Yeah, I assume you're making weekly calls to them since that initial call.
Oh,
She's not
that a
doing the
joke?
Kyle route. Okay.
Was it so- Look,
Okay.
I'm the guy that makes the bad jokes. That's what I'm here for.
so what did you do? So meanwhile, while Trump is apparently indicted and
For his
protesters-
war crimes.
no, paying off a hooker to just go away, or a prostitute, right? No, it was porn star, whatever. Who
I
knows?
think
I
it
don't even know
I
what's
think it
wrong.
was.
Is there any
I
proof
think
that
he
they even had sex? Like what it was even for?
Well,
I think he
Doesn't seem like there's proof of any of it.
miscategorized the payoff to stay quiet about the sex with the
So
prostitute.
from what I understand, and the documents I've seen, no, not even that. His lawyer paid off. He never even paid his lawyer for it. So he didn't do shit as far as the law is concerned.
Oh, and then he stiffed the lawyer.
Yeah, like I think Tim Cass was talking about. He's like, look, as far as the documentation show, his lawyer did this so he wouldn't have to deal with a problem. This is all the lawyer's fault, not Trump's. Because
Wow.
if he never paid the lawyer, there's literally nothing tying Trump to it.
I think you
I
could
mean,
still get him
anybody
on that.
upset? Is anybody upset about the quality of porn star that's involved with the president? Right? Like,
Who would you
I
have liked
mean-
to seen him with?
Really classic.
I don't know. I
John
feel
Jameson.
like he could get any, like top tier.
Like who? Like Angela White?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know.
Who are
wasn't
your
she just
favorites?
hospitalized? Wasn't she
Who
just
do you like?
hospitalized?
More of a
Yeah.
bad
I'm,
guy,
I'm,
but,
you know,
whatever.
I'm like classics, from the 80s.
Yeah,
But they're old now.
that still has his VHSs. He's still, yeah.
You're like, I like a full bush.
It doesn't like that
I
waxing.
can't
down
lie.
there.
I can't
Mhm.
lie.
Yeah,
I'm
Babs
with James
is
on this one.
into manscaping whatsoever. He's a
Classics
hairy
from the 80s. no step brother porn for you. All right.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's what it all is now.
It is all that now.
how do you
It's
know?
ridiculous.
it's just going. I don't know. It's just
Look, someone's got to put the auto blow to use. What are we doing here, guys?
right.
Come on.
So we
You
had
can't even find pictures anymore. It's all just video.
So that's in our logo, Chrissy. Just inside story that someone listened to our podcast years ago, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm a libertarian, and I'm the inventor of the auto blow, like this AI blowjob device."
Does it work?
And
Is
It
it
uses
good?
artificial
Well,
intelligence to
the-
design a custom experience for you, right?
The founder of this fine program took a leave of absence, and he was the only one to try it. So I can only take his word for it. But he's
Something
Does anybody know
happened?
who has it now?
It's like, do you really want to leave that up to a non-human?
Look, you know what?
Sure,
I've never put two and two together, but his like bent towards where he ended up happened shortly thereafter.
right.
Was that a religious experience? You think?
I
Maybe.
think it was.
Yes,
I
he's
thought you meant
taken
the
a
end of
long.
his marriage.
That too. The auto blow could have ended.
He finally
this.
he decided he didn't need a wife after that. It was that.
Oh, good Lord.
It was a
Like,
Like,
turning
does it
point.
fold laundry?
Ooh.
That's the auto fold.
But
Look, let's not give AI any ideas here. That becomes an add-on feature, and it's all over.
AI cooking. I saw
You
it.
put a
freaked
mug
me,
in the butthole, it's like an espresso comes out. You're like, yeah.
it freaked me out. I was flipping through Twitter and I saw there was a robot. I don't know what the page was, but it was a robot that was AI controlled that was doing dental work. So there was like a mannequin with a wide open mouth with a robot arm controlled by AI to do dental work.
Wow.
So and I'm like, that is terrifying.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know, it was
we
like a
already
medical
have
mannequin.
machines and lasers doing like the eye surgery, like the what's it
LASIK.
called? LASIK.
I don't know.
Did you go to high school with Dave Attell or the same high school as Attell and Schumer?
Yeah,
That's
Schumer was
true?
my sister's grade.
Really?
Wow.
Chuck Schumer.
Yeah. Yes, Chuck Schumer.
Amy Schumer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She's like the less funny version of her uncle Chuck.
Aw. Slightly less good looking.
Very
Slightly
very
less evil. Well, that's debatable.
They both seem pretty evil to me. I don't know.
Yeah, Dave.
She's kind of fallen out of the spotlight for a while now.
I know, like people aren't even making jokes about her anymore. Like that's sad.
Aw.
Didn't she like get into just producing other comics for a while there? Like I know there was a lot of stand-up specials that were Amy Schumer Presents
Yeah.
that were doing pretty
Yeah,
good.
that was nice that she was kind of giving back to her people a little bit.
Yeah,
Only she could have been funny.
We stumbled across David Tell twice at Magooby's Joke House in Maryland, and Kyle and I were actually at the same show. Yeah, it was wild. And Jared, who would have been here, but he had the COVID, so that's why Jared isn't joining us. But we went to a show there and saw Dave, and there was 2 shows. Have you ever been to Magooby's? It's like the most random place.
Where is it? Maryland?
Yeah, so it's like north of Maryland. It's outside the Beltway. It's outside the Baltimore
Maryland.
Beltway, and it's in like this weird storage unit. So Dave made a joke. It's like, it's my dream to be, a legendary comedian and coming here and coming back to perform in Timonium, Maryland, in a storage unit next to an Applebee's. I mean, it's like the worst. It's the weirdest location, but it's really the only comic club in the Baltimore area that brings brings people in on a regular.
When you get big, we have bigger venues. So Sam Morrell, I think last year was it Magooby's or the year before. I missed him at Magooby's. Well, he's gotten big, and now he's at I think the Meyerhoff or whatever.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, or something. I forget what it is, but he's getting a bigger venue. So
the key problem is you'd have to go to Baltimore to do any of these things, and it's not enough money in the world. Well, you have to ask that question. I guess you'd find out.
Fine place. Nikki P's out in like the Cleveland area, and Babs is in an undisclosed location somewhere in the Philadelphia suburbs. So,
okay,
but we just have a lot of crime. That's all.
Yeah.
Where are you based?
New York. Yeah, I'm in outside of New York City, so I'm in New York City like at least a couple times a week. So crime doesn't scare me.
Yeah.
How was it during COVID's? Like, I mean, you got
completely
a lot of
deserted.
Yeah, because you got a lot of flack, speaking out against the lockdowns and the jab and all that. So how did the community or the comedy community in New York treat you like during that time
like
period?
not at all. They treated me not at all. Like there was no like, wow, great job. Like, wow, I'm gonna do that too. Like I feel completely split off from like the rest of the comedy community. I feel like I vibe with the Compound Media guys and Tyler Fisher and a couple of other comics that are like scattered around the country, like Layla Hart, Crip Daddy. So it's really like Sam Tripoli in LA.
I love Sam. I love tinfoil hat.
I don't really feel like a sense of community. I mean, your community is like, I guess, what you make of it or what you create. But yeah, a few people are like, well, you're not even passed at every club in the city, so what does it really matter? I was just like, okay, no, for me, it's just about the principle. I'm not going to perform anywhere that mandates the jabs. And if that means I never perform in New York City ever again, like, I guess so be it.
Joe the OP, she sure as hell did. I miss getting good recommendations from Netflix because of the star system.
But you know what? If it weren't her, it would be somebody else that would have ruined it. Like that seems to be the theme. You know, they took away the dislike button from YouTube. So I mean, I feel like we were heading that way anyway.
We're getting some, but since they took it away, we're getting some great dislike ratios on things. Like they're getting pretty epic. Like 4.3 million dislikes on the most recent. I think it's something like 4.3 million dislikes on the most recent trailer. No, the most recent, the Flipper Girl thing, whatever.
Flipper Girl.
Yeah. They traded. I'm literally going retarded.
You and Otto.
The Little Mermaid.
The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
Oh,
The Flipper.
I like the Flipper Girl.
You know.
Yeah.
You know what
I
he
like
means.
Flipper Girl better.
She's got a fucking flipper for the bottom half, of course.
It's that's what you came up with to try to say this is what I'm talking about. The Flipper Girl.
Yeah, you know.
You know.
You should just know what you mean by that. Yeah.
I've got a 9-year-old. That's how I would talk to a 9-year-old trying to say this. So when we talk about how terrible the Little Mermaid is, I'd say Flipper Girl. But that.
Okay, Flipper Girl.
So you said you came from the left. You're actually coming from the left. Would you say like the COVID and the lockdown started pushing you away from the left? How did you get where you are now?
That started more so in 2018 with what I was feeling was censorship in comedy, not only for myself, but for everybody who I thought was funny. And just the gradual increasing tiptoeing around, oh, we can't make fun of this group of people. We can't make fun of this group of people. And a sort of like period of kind of cancellations has started. I think my first whiff of it, of like, oh, if you make the wrong joke at the wrong group of people, like you'll be ostracized, was in 2018. It was during kind of like the Me Too movement. There was a lot of Me Too cases in Hollywood and in comedy as well. And there was a couple of girls in the New York City comedy scene that were like coming out saying, oh, like I was taken advantage of in a basement, or I was like whatever against my will. And it was like happening a couple times. And I would notice the type of girls that would come out with this. And I'd be like, you guys aren't like very busy. It feels like you're just kind of making bad choices, not necessarily that you're like victims. So I tweeted, like, if you have time to get raped, you're not doing enough spots.
Oh man.
And spots are like comedy sets, and that the blowback from that, people fucking still mention that. Like that was in 2018. And it was just to illustrate, like, if you're keep yourself busy, and I'm noticing like this kind of shit isn't happening to me because I do my spots, I go home, like I'm goal oriented. If you're getting drunk in a basement and you're putting yourself in a situation where someone can take advantage of you, like that's kind of on you. It feels like that is more happening than straight up, you know, there's predators everywhere you turn. Like it just sounds like you're making bad choices and you're not busy enough. But that, you know, I noticed that's when I started noticing, okay, like certain jokes don't always go over. You can't make fun of fellow NYC female comedians. You know,
the way it gets talked about just kind of reminds me of how the service industry work, where there's this weird group of insular people that you're always around, and they all just end up fucking each other because that's the people that are around, and like
totally
constantly like there's just bickering and fighting because of the intermingling of this relationship to that relationship and who's fucking who you used to fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's a lot of that in comedy for sure.
Like me and my wife talk about, because she was a very particular type of upbringing, and I'll talk sometimes about working in the service industry. It's like, oh, you know, so and so was fucking the manager, and then like we had it off in the cooler, and then it was a thing, so we had to move to a different restaurant, and it's just every time I hear stories about the New York City scene, especially, it just stinks of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I feel really lucky to have found somebody who understands comedy but isn't a stand-up themselves. Like, so I feel lucky. I mean, I've hooked up with a couple comics. I dated one for like 2.5 years, so I know what it's like. But yeah,
how'd you get into it, or like when did you start doing
I
shows?
wanted to be a reporter in college. I interned at Dateline NBC, and while I was there, I realized like news is not for me. This
isn't funny at all.
This isn't funny at all. This Stone Phillips is boring as fuck. And I was just like, wow, this doesn't seem fun. And I feel like it's going to take a lot of years to work myself back to to be working in New York, like a good market. So I reached out to the only female writer at Late Night with Conan O'Brien at the time, this woman named Allison Silverman, and I was able to get myself an internship for the following school year, my senior year in college. So I got college credit. I went in, twice a week for the Dateline internship, and then twice a week for the Conan internship. And then I realized like I love hanging around, comedy writers. I loved like the feeling of working on the show. I just was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but this feels like more my scene than news. So I talked to the writers, like Brian Stack, who would do a lot of bit parts, and Jose Arroyo, who was a really nice guy. He gave me a book on comedy writing that I think I still have. And they were saying, if you're interested in this, like do improv. So after I graduated, I did 5 years of improv between the Magnet Theater and the UCB Theater. And, did like every class a team at both theaters. Then did a one-woman show that ran at the Magnet Theater for about 6 weeks. And after that, I realized, okay, I think I can start stand-up. Like I did an hour on stage. I did 6 different characters. I think I can like muster up the balls to do some stand-up. And
Nice.
that was in March of 2010 that I started stand-up. I've been doing it ever since.
Was your one-woman show funny? I have to ask.
Was it funny?
Because I just hear one-woman show and I assume that like I'm supposed to cry at the end of it based on
I guess
the women
people
shows I've
went.
seen.
To see what they thought. Like for me, it just felt like, wow, my first experience where I really felt like an actor. I mean, there's so much rehearsing, like for as many rehearsals as I was doing and for as much that I performed it, to me, it's like, the words like lose meaning. You're just like, it's just a performance. So it's like, it was funny when I wrote it, but it's like, as you're doing it, it's so much different. Our scripted show is so much different than what I do with stand-up, which is like partially scripted, partially improvised.
Which I was actually going to ask, if you have any ambitions of like doing actual like writing beyond stand-up, getting into like television or film or anything like that.
Like what specifically?
I mean, just from like a writing perspective, is your type of comedy specifically stand-up, or would you like to do other types of comedic writing or just
I
writing
don't
in general
know.
for that matter?
Yeah, I've had a few people reach out to me recently that are possibly looking in the direction of like a movie or studio or something. I'm pretty much open, but also I just feel like I've had so many things that might have happened over the years. For me, I can't get excited until I'm literally like signing a contract and something's happening.
So the money's in the bank account. I don't care.
Not even about the money. It's just I've had so many people pitch me ideas, send me things, so many meetings, so many things that sound like you're about to blow up. And like you just realize over the years, like it's, I guess, just a numbers game, or just to really not get your hopes up until a thing is literally happening.
Right. You're here on the Punk Rock Libertarian Podcast. It's happening now.
It's happening.
Real.
You made
It is
it.
real.
Right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I took 2 improv classes. The one thing that was interesting to me was like, we all have like a screen or a filter, and you kind of, there's a lot of things you won't say or can't say, or just out of normal social convention. And improv kind of teaches you to let that guard down, let that screen down. You don't have time to think. You just got to kind of blurt, and you get very quick and very witty. And I don't know. I thought it was really fun, and you also silly. I mean, we were like doing things that I was like, this is like we're in kindergarten or something, just having the most fun we could possibly have. I had a blast in improv classes.
Well, you don't smoke weed,
so
right,
much
Kyle?
fun.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I'm
See,
kind of a
the rest of us just
strict
smoke weed to get to do that. So
I think smoking weed is so boring. Like I there's nothing I'm less interested in than smoking weed. Like for me, I just feel like I'd rather be getting something done, or like achieving a goal, or working on something, or writing on something, or listening to a set. I feel like literally taking a nap is more productive than smoking weed, in my opinion.
Sounds like Finn McKenty rubbed off on you. Now you're all uber trad. Can't believe it.
I guess I have too many things to do than to just like relax and smoke weed and like blow off in an afternoon. But I feel like with improv, it's like, to your point, Kyle, like you really do, like you could feed into your inner child. It's a great way to make friends, and you don't necessarily have to be like, I want to be in commercials, or I want to be an actor or a comedian. Like plenty of people who take improv like want to just help their public speaking. They want to help their their work, like when they do presentations. So there are so many transferable skills that you can learn in improv that apply to really any industry. But you're right, it really does free you up on stage. It teaches you to like be in your body. You start doing like accents, or maybe you pretend like you're like, wow, I've never actually like physically like pretended to be a cat before. Like how would if there was an old table, what would that like old table's personality be? Or like an old, like what would be the personality? Like how would an old car sound that's full of garbage? Like it really gets you out of your head and helps you to like trains you to think creatively. But like, and to your point too, you don't have time to think. You can't help but be honest. And with that is where there's so much humor, because in that honesty is people's genuine thoughts and feelings, which are often racist, misogynist, like all of the things that you're not supposed to like, that aren't politically correct, but that are hilarious because it's how people actually think.
Yeah, it kills comedy when you try to just sort of be like, okay, now I have to think about the 50 different things I can't say here because, people are going to freak out. And yeah, I get it. I can understand that pushing you away from the left because
kind of just like multiple, like to answer your question fully, like it was kind of multiple passes at cancellation, because it was the New York City comedy scene is very left. Like when I started, I was a feminist. I lived in Brooklyn. I feel like I was doing all the right things to like get ahead. I had a show at the Stonewall Inn that was monthly. That was great. That was like standing room only every month, and it ran for 6 years. And I noticed that once I started to do a show on Compound Media, the way, people were treating me was changing, and the way that people were seeing me was different. Like I had the same sense of humor, but I went from, oh, comedian we all know and love, to like, oh, now you're a Republican. Now you're far right because you're on Anthony Cumia's network. It's like, okay, well, he's far right, but nobody asked me what my political opinions were on things. But like, none of that matters. People like to group and stereotype. It makes everything easier. So that was kind of one wave. Well, the first wave was that tweet about like, if you have time to get raped, you're not doing enough spots. Like that got me kicked out of a few women's groups for sure. Tweet. I was not invited to like brunches after that. And then it was getting on Compound Media, which was like 2018. I started doing some spots on there because my mom died in 2018, and I was like, I felt like I really need to throw myself into something else, because I was just like, there's only so much you can grieve and like wallow in it. You have to just do something productive. So I started to go on Compound Media, and I was like, oh wow, I really feel like these guys' sense of humor like vibe with my sense of humor. We're both kind of anti-woke, not politically correct, just same kind of improvised, very that quick wit that you'll see from like, Anthony Cumia or Jim Norton or any of these other like, comics that have been around for a while. And then I pitched my show Wet Spot in 2019. That got picked up, and I wanted that to feel like an old school, like Howard Stern feeling, like before he, evolved, sold out, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I have porn stars on, comedians. Like sometimes wild shit happens. Sometimes it's nudity, cussing. Sometimes it's anal ring toss. Sometimes it's just like a thought-provoking conversation. Like it varies. I think Larry Sharp's done it a couple times. And
anal ring toss. Larry
anal
Sharp?
ring toss. It's exactly. He wasn't involved with that.
Maybe I'm not giving Larry enough credit. Okay.
No, he is pretty fun. I mean, I think if it were happening near him, he'd be like, all right, okay.
Jump right in there. Okay.
Yeah. He'd be like, why don't we sponsor this? Why doesn't Verizon sponsor this anal ring toss, and they can pay for the upkeep of the bridge? So that was kind of one round of canceling. Another round of sort of canceling was being an out Trump voter, because I wasn't on board with Trump when he first came out. It took a minute. I voted for Jill Stein actually the first time.
You're still voting?
Because I didn't know what the hell. And the second, I voted for Obama the first time. Second time I actually didn't vote because I didn't want to miss yoga class. And then I voted for Jill Stein, and then I voted for Trump. But
see, that's the amount of importance voting should be in your life. I didn't want to miss
yoga.
Well, I was like, he'll win. I was not politically activated just at that point. And then voted for Trump in 2020. Was very much an out Trump voter. That was another thing that was very unpopular in the New York City comedy scene. And then, of course, January 6th was a big one because I had people messaging my Facebook friends being like, hey, just letting you know, like Chrissie Mayr was at the Capitol on the 6th. You should probably unfriend her. Which is people I don't even know, never heard of, never seen, asking my Facebook friends to unfriend me. And there was a producer who produced a show in Brooklyn I was only able to get like one tweet out on the 6th because the reception was so bad. And I think it was like, oh, heading over to the Capitol now, because all of us that were there didn't think it was a big deal because it was a planned march point. But the people who didn't know what was going on, who were just following, like, who were just taking their whole opinion from what legacy media was telling them to think. This one girl was like, oh, she tweeted out, she like quote tweeted me. She's like, I don't know what the comics are doing in LA, but in New York, they're storming the Capitol. And I was like, I was just so shocked because I'm like, I barely know this woman. I've worked with her on a couple shows. Like, why is she? And then I'm like, oh, like this is something the left is using to virtue signal on. And then, it very quickly was made apparent to me, like how they were painting anybody who was in DC on that day. I'm like, oh, wow, they're just like demonizing anybody who was there. And it was wild because there were articles, there was another conversation of like, oh, we need to make a list of every comedian who was at the Capitol on January 6th so we can just basically blacklist them. Like, we have to come together and never book these comics who were
That sounds hilarious.
It's literally me and one other dude. Like, there was not a huge comedian presence at the Capitol that day. I'm like, that's a short list.
Like the guy with the horns, he's not getting booked at all now.
Literally me and Kevin.
He's out
like
now. He's at a halfway house. He got out.
Out. Yeah. So that was pretty.
Say his name. What's his name?
The shaman.
Jacob Chansley.
Chansley.
Out of curiosity, have any of you guys actually watched his documentary Q sent me?
Our friend made that. No,
the first half of it's fantastic. I'm still waiting for the second half of it.
Was it Nicholas Ring or?
Yeah, it's Rink's movie.
Yep.
But yeah, it's great.
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, what's funny about that is because if you watch that video, which had them following him, like all that crap that came out during Tucker's.
Oh no, Nikki P dropped out.
Oh no, I thought he was going to make a really good point.
Oh, he was. We're all waiting.
An EMP attack. We get those.
Yeah, they had to take him out. Look, see.
Oh no.
He'll be back. It cuts in and out.
There's a low.
Yeah, Alex, to answer your question, it was like these several rounds of kind of canceling that made me realize a few things. Like, no, number one, there's no like community. There's no like, we have your back. We're all New York City comedians. Like, it was for years me like giving a lot of spots, helping a lot of people for my Stonewall Inn show. Like, I thought I had friends, but once I was perceived to have the wrong politics, a lot of people stopped associating.
You're in the out group.
Actual friends turned their back on me. I had actual friends turn their back on me even before I voted for Trump because
are you friends with Jimmy Dore? Because your story sounds kind of like his, the way he has been like rejected by the left.
I had a girlfriend literally give me shit because she thought my boyfriend voted for Trump, and this was like back in probably 2016, 17, before I was voting for Trump myself. So it was really wild to see the difference.
You were Trump voter adjacent. So you were Trump voter adjacent, and that was enough.
It was really wild to see how people's opinions of you would change just based on like where they thought you fell politically or what they thought your views were. And again, like these are people behind my back telling my other friends to unfriend, to make a list, don't ever book this person again. But nobody in my DMs, nobody texting me or calling me being like, hey, like I saw you were at the Capitol that day. To me, it seems like a pretty bad thing, but maybe you can explain why you were there or what went on in your opinion. Like, I had no messages like that. It was literally all grandstanding and virtue signaling, and nobody privately being like, oh, hey, like, even like, I'm really concerned. Why were you there? Like, what's going on?
First of all, why would anyone need to explain why they just went to DC for some bullshit event?
Well,
right?
if they didn't know,
like,
if they're under the impression that it's this horrible thing, like anybody who goes there is a white supremacist, even like, oh, I thought you were different, Chrissy. Why were you? Even if they were like, had the dumbest take.
But you're a media personality. Like, why wouldn't anybody, like, maybe you went to make jokes about it. Maybe you went to get material. Maybe you went maybe you went because you're a Nazi. Maybe you went because you're whatever.
Maybe you went there for the anal ring toss. I mean, who knows?
Maybe we had some anal ring toss.
Yeah, Tim Miller. That's Otto, who's usually our host. He's at the Madball concert at, ironically named the Otto Bar in Baltimore. And Madball's from New York. They're a hardcore band, and I'm gonna check them out later. But they basically said we are not playing any fucking shows that has vaccine mandates, and they got huge blowback within the hardcore punk scene. Yeah, they've been around for like ever, and they're fucking.
remember-
And they're based as fuck. And
Do
they
you remember
were
when
like,
they did that? Was it like right when De Blasio put out the mandates? Because I think it was in
Yep.
August or something of I think 21.
yeah, and they had a huge show in Central Park, and it was like Cro-Mags, Wisdom in Chains, like all these like kind of like all these hardcore bands that were like, fuck this mandate, vaccine mandates, these
Wow,
mask
that's
mandates, all
great.
this bullshit. We're having a fucking show in Central Park. And we saw Madball when they came through Maryland like a year ago, and it was fucking amazing. And it was at a black-owned business out in Frederick, Maryland, which is like the second largest city, but it's out in Western Maryland. And they were, because all like these fucking clubs in Baltimore were doing this vaccine mandate bullshit.
Wow.
So and Madball was like, fuck that. We are not playing any shows with, you know, any of these promoters, any whatever. And they got so much flack in the hardcore, like the punk and hardcore scene. And so they're fucking based.
Yeah, punk and
I've loved
hardcore,
them
which-
before COVID. And it's
Aren't
just
they-
like,
Isn't
Oh,
that
go
a
ahead,
field
Jeff.
that's supposed to be known for like standing up to authority and rejecting like
You would
rejecting
think, right?
authoritarianism?
But look what happened to Rage Against the Machine.
yeah, raging for the
They
machine.
started, yeah. What a weird time for the arts, like kind of an
Yeah.
embarrassing period for bands, for comedians, but yet, you know, there were those that stood out, and they're going to be the ones that move forward with their heads held high. The rest are just an embarrassment. They sold out to try to get along without courage. I mean, what good is a comedian that doesn't stand up to authority? Like, seriously,
What good is
are
a
you gonna?
comedian who shares the exact same views as authority? What is your? Why do you
Right.
exist?
You're
Why
just
do
a
you get on a
propagandist
stage?
at that point,
Yeah,
right?
you
Like
just
if you
turn
turn
on
in,
the TV and hear what you're saying.
yeah, if you turn into like the shows like I used to watch the Daily Show during the Bush years, and that was pretty funny. Like he would pretty much make jokes about the regime, but that all
Yeah.
changed when Obama came in. They just all stepped back, and now at this point, the TV is just a propaganda wing for the regime.
Yeah,
So not
exactly.
funny, not funny at all, and
That's Trevor
embarrassing.
Noah and Stephen Colbert as well.
Oh God.
Those two should just what an embarrassment to their profession. People that had
Yeah, I agree.
accomplished greatness with the right writers, with the right attitude, could be doing wonderful things, and all they're doing is selling vaccines and wars and whatever. You know, like, just pathetic.
It's gross. It's like, how dumb do you think your viewers are?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I have no, and part of this, like, sort of like, I don't know, comedy, red pilling, whatever, awakening period for me was realizing, like, I went from someone who was kind of in the running, maybe for a spot on Colbert. I was connecting with the booker there. I was like befriending her. It was like looking like it was going to start happening. And then you realize, like, oh, like you start something like saying you're an out Trump voter, like that takes you completely out of the running for something like that. Like you really have to have the right opinions.
You're like,
to
we're here to
impress-
sell vaccines, man.
Yeah, to
man, we're here to
impress the
sell
right
vaccines. We really don't care
gatekeepers.
about your jokes, okay? We're here to
Yeah,
sell
like,
vaccines. What do you got?
There's the normal sort of comedy path, which is like a late night spot. Used to be Letterman, Leno, but now it's like Fallon, Colbert, Kimmel, right? Like, so you have to impress the right gatekeepers, and you have to have like the right politics to even be someone that they would think of to get to a point where you're getting a late night spot. So then eventually you can get like a JFL, which is the big, now it doesn't matter as much anymore, but like 15, 20 years ago, getting on Just for Laughs in Montreal was, again, like that was career making, and that would lead you to road work or Comedy Central special or an HBO special. And it's like, but if you don't have these right opinions, if you're not like basically woke, if you're not like, if someone like me has to be bashing men 24/7, bashing white people, like those are the correct jokes to make. Not that fucking if you're getting raped, you're not doing enough spots. Like that nobody wants to hear from that person. So you quickly realize, like, oh, I'm never going to make it in this mainstream way. So either you wait for the mainstream to change, or you go, fuck it, I gotta find my own fans a different way. I gotta produce my own shows. I gotta do my own podcast. I gotta find my people somewhere. If you don't, well, you can always get another day job. But I sort of pivoted into like compound media and podcasting, and tried to find people who are kind of enjoy anti-woke comedy, or whatever you want to call it, real comedy, just like how I actually
Let's just
feel.
say traditional comedy, or
Yeah.
maybe just call it comedy.
Just comedy.
I think that's
Yeah.
one silver lining of COVID's is that, I mean, I was kicked off Facebook, and Instagram and just finding this Twitter. I was like, what the fuck? Let me try Twitter. And all these years I've never had Twitter, and just meeting this community on Twitter. Like I just started following you maybe like a year and a half ago. Also following Forest Mommy, Jess Fenske.
Oh, she's hilarious. I love her.
Yeah, I mean, I just met her like 2 years ago. She's been on the podcast a couple times. I got involved in the Mises Caucus, and she's endorsed by the Mises Caucus out in Colorado running. Like, it's just building this network of just people that are sick, creating this own counterculture and saying, fuck, like both the left and the right. And all this is like just seeing through all this shit. And that's the one silver lining of COVID. It's like
the friends you make along the way.
Exactly. It's the friends you make along the way. And that's like maybe red pill. That's like the white pill, I go back and forth between the white pill and the black pill, but building that community and around people that and trust and that like appreciate you and like understand, like not like, oh my gosh, Chrissie Mayr she's dating a Trump supporter. Oh my God. Like, what the fuck? Like, I thought I knew you, what the fuck? It's like,
yeah.
I
I'd
feel
be like,
like
well, I don't even know who you're dating. I don't give a fuck how they vote. Like, I'm not thinking about who you're dating and who they voted for. Like, why the fuck
all in your
are
business and shit. Stay out of my business.
The exciting thing, like your point, Alex, about what you're saying is like normally we look to the people who we think are in our community, like fellow musicians, fellow comedians, whatever, to help us build and grow and get to the next level. And now it's like we can cross industries. Like, I hope that I can help a musician, or maybe I'll just take a musician, for example, like a Phil Labonte on my show or whatever. Or so it doesn't matter like what level you are. You have someone on who is a social scientist or like a historian, or like, it doesn't matter what walk of life they come from. I think it's like we're kind of making our own connections, making our own sort of like network of people that we can help and build up and, create with, which is very exciting and like a really wonderful thing about the internet and YouTube and Twitter. Like, for all its faults, it's like, it's brought a lot of us together with a lot of great people.
Yeah. I was like, that was based that you had Forest Mommy on, what was that? Simcast, right?
Yeah. She's so funny.
Yeah. She's so
It was wild how that one guy like just came after her after she announced her run.
And then you look at the guy's fucking background and he like just kind of your story. Oh, going the journalist route, and you have to be a complete fucking sellout and that, what was that? The company owned by, or 13 of those local news, the organization was like funded by Pfizer, or, it's like,
really, that's not shocking.
Yeah. So it's like, anti-vaxxer, running for city council.
Don't people realize how lame they sound in 2023 saying anti-vaxxer? Like, are we really still saying this? This was something that flew like 10 years ago when a mom didn't want to give her kid a fucking polio vaccine or something like that. Like, it's like, are we really still calling people anti? They don't realize how crusty that sounds.
Yeah.
When there's very real reason to maybe want to sashay from it.
Yes, I love that pot. Like, I'm gonna have to start following the Simcast, add it to my podcast rotation. So, because you get some based individuals, and just building that community, like you said, is so important. Because
it's fun. It's the most meaningful. It sounds like really corny and gay, but when I can introduce people who really become friends, like Brittany Venti originally is from New York. That's where I met her. But from having her and Lila Hart and like Carmaxla and Melanie Mack, like I've had all these girls on Simcast multiple times. They all live in Texas. They've all become really good friends. I'm not gonna say like just because of me, but like if I can help facilitate like a real life connection and friendship, that makes me feel really, really good about myself. And then especially after like a comedy show, a bunch of fans come out, we go drinking after. It's like, oh, hey, I listen to Friday Night Tights. Oh, so do I. And we all like follow the same people. It's like, great. And then I leave but they're all friends and stay in contact. That's fucking awesome. It's just such a huge benefit to feel like you're helping to bring people together, especially after a time where we all felt so alone and separated. So yeah, it feels
He's
good.
back.
Yeah. Sorry.
He's back.
He might have been waiting he was probably in the waiting room. Sorry, man. I'm like new to the controls here on the StreamYard.
You left him in the waiting room for 20 minutes.
Good. That's where you belong. Okay.
He was in the middle. I forget what he was talking about. I remember the Flipper Girl.
Flipper girl. Good old Flipper girl.
Flipper
The Little
girl
Mermaid.
cone here.
Just think about what you said. Don't come back till you say the Little Mermaid.
You're on mute. Nikki, you're on mute.
He just can't get anything right today.
Yeah,
His
apparently.
internet.
For
There
a
he
guy
is.
who's hosted a lot of podcasts.
That vinyl chloride in the air out there in Ohio is really fucking up your stream out
Oh,
there.
no.
You joke, but
Yeah, how are things on the ground out there, Nikki P? I don't think I really
Hilarious,
talked to you
right?
since.
I mean,
Are you growing a tail yet? What's happening?
I'm more concerned about like my family in Pittsburgh because they're way closer to it than I am. They're also in the direction wind goes.
Plus, even if
Yeah.
they weren't being poisoned, they're in Pittsburgh.
Right.
There is also that. But I mean, all of the water effects are actually fucking West Virginia more than it's doing anything to Ohio.
I heard about some bottled water that was recalled from like Massachusetts because it had been bottled in Ohio.
I mean, we do have Nestle here, so it's very, very possible.
This was like Acadia brand or something like that. Anyway,
I drink.
Wow.
I drink. Look, we're those weird homesteader types. I got a Berkey out there that I make my own water, so we're okay.
good.
What's a
Philadelphia
Berkey?
recently poisoned Philadelphia's water, and everyone loved that. Caused a run on bottled water in all the stores, and everyone's like,
Really?
they're like, yeah, don't drink the water. And they're like, I mean, it was already like a fluorinated punch from hell, you know, but
Wow.
The real funny takeaway from this for me is it's like everyone's like, look, guys, 8,000 of these things happen every year. Like, it's just that this is a big one. Like, okay, but you don't think that there's an issue that we have 8,000 trail derailments a year and that's not something to be concerned about?
Right.
listen, Azov Battalion needs the weapons. Okay. Shut up about your crumbling infrastructure again. Okay.
Yeah, like if we had 8,000 planes crashing a year, we'd be like, what's going on with the planes?
Right.
Well, they
I might
disappear.
cancel
They
my
don't
trip this
crash.
year. Yeah, so we'll send Berkey the bill for this free plug, but it's basically, I think it's the best water filtration system. You put on stainless steel. They have different sizes, but it doesn't.
Does
Nikki
it
P,
filter
filters like
vinyl
everything
chloride?
out of it. Yeah, I don't know about vinyl chloride, so I don't know, Nikki P. It might not be safe, but it
I'm
basically
still
gets
better than
anything out
everyone
of
else
water.
around here. Whatever they're drinking's not as good as what I am, one way or the other. Maybe it still has vinyl chloride in it, but not all the other crap. So
We'll send Berkey a bill for this free plug, but yeah,
it's funny because like technically I say Berkey, but I built it myself. So
oh wow, DIY, huh? Nice.
yeah, bro, it's the only way to homestead.
Yeah, did
Chickens out there.
You got chickens?
We're working on it.
Oh, okay.
I'm building the coop right now.
I mean, the price of eggs were goddamn ridiculous. You got to.
Oh no, absolutely.
If you have a backyard, you need chickens.
So you live in not upstate New York, Chrissy. I'm curious, what do eggs look like in New York City right now? How much do you pay for eggs?
Oh man. Let's see. Maybe
Full
like
disclosure, I've been really cool about the New York City thing. I grew up in upstate New York and I hate New York City with a burning
maybe
passion.
$6.
So $6? Really? That's cheaper than they are here. That's wild.
Hmm.
Oh, I guess what quality of eggs are you buying? I guess is probably the next
I
question.
don't know if they're bad quality. Like I don't know. They're just white. They look the same to me as they've always looked.
Okay. It's
I
probably
paid
not
like
like
$7.50 for the top shelf eggs.
like top shelf. I think is like $9 a dozen out here for like the free range.
Oh wow.
Is that because all the land is polluted now and the eggs are the chickens all died?
Hey, honestly, that might be it. I haven't heard any, like, we get eggs from like farmers and stuff that we know, but so I don't have to worry about the store as much. But I haven't heard of any die-offs out there from any of the places we go. As long as my raw milk stays good, we're good.
You have cows?
No, we have a farm we go to for raw milk.
Those are
Aw.
cockroach milk.
Oh, a milk of
They-
cockroach.
They don't tell me, that's fine.
It's more nutritious than cow milk.
Oh.
Chrissy, are you a gamer?
No, I mean if you count Pokemon Go, but other than that, No,
I
not
don't know that I
really.
would count that. No, I don't think
Okay.
so. When Nikki said something about like D&D and comic books and
Well, no, so I
Oh,
guess
that really
I was
that
bringing
really got Kyle's attention.
well, I was just bringing up that's how because I know you through the Nerdrotic crew. That's how I discovered
Oh
you.
yeah.
And it has always fascinated me. Like I've never gotten the impression that like you're perhaps a nerd at heart, but for some reason that group just endeared to you.
I think I am a nerd at heart. I think if I had more time, I would probably do more gaming, but I think I've always been nerd adjacent for sure.
Okay.
all right.
I played God, what I did play. Did I play Dungeons and Dragons? I think I did. There's like a tabletop version of Geeks and Gamers that I did with Epic Mike. I think it was. Yeah, it's something where you have to like role play and like explain. It's really interesting. Like explain what you're doing like every step of the way.
I mean, isn't that what we call it? I thought you guys said you did improv earlier.
Yeah. But no one really explained the rules to me. So I had like they were like prompting me to make moves and I just fucking had no idea what was going on. They were laughing though. They thought it was they were
As long as you're
I
having
was a
fun in
noob.
it, that's what's
Yeah.
important. Like I love introducing somebody to playing D&D because it's never what people think it is. It's very different, and usually they end up having a lot more fun than they're expecting to.
Yeah, it's the game with the orcs, right? And you have to like make moves on kind of a chessboard looking type thing.
Probably, like that's one way of playing it.
Yeah.
I haven't been able
Is
to
it
play in a long
creative?
time. All of my nerd friends disavowed me when Trump was running for president. So,
You too?
like, but
Wow.
basically, the official move for me was that I refused to say Richard Spencer needed to be murdered. For
Wow.
Hmm.
Interesting.
yeah, apparently, you know, my stand is like I don't think it's right to act violence on people who have done not violence on other people, and
Right. That seems like
They-
common sense. Like you
Nope.
can not like someone's opinions, but like
That's
if they're
crazy
not
anarchist talk.
that's when I
Yeah.
became a Nazi, and all my D&D friends who were back home in New York said, "Yep, can't be friends with you anymore, buddy."
Very
Wow.
sad.
Wow.
Very sad.
Yeah. I wouldn't post a black square. That was one of the first moments for me where I was like, why do I have to do this to prove that I'm a good person and I like black people? Like this shouldn't be necessary.
I fuck a black person. I'm okay. I'm good.
Yeah, there you go. There's your proof.
I made a half black person. that should be everything I need.
Yeah.
That's
So
really
did you
how
have
we
to post
overcome
half a
racism.
black square?
Well, no,
A gray square?
because you know how bad it is, right? Like see, when I'm married to a black woman, I was told that is me. How
Colonizer.
that's how I act.
Colonizing
my
You're
that
need-
ass.
colonizing the bedroom. You're
how
colonizing the
I
bedroom.
act out my need to colonize. And
Wow.
You're basically Thomas Jefferson at that point.
Basically, yeah.
God, if only.
Somebody told you that?
Wow.
I've been told it more than once, Kyle. That is a
Damn.
thing.
Wild.
By your
Really?
wife?
I have
How does your
Never
wife
come.
feel?
Well, that's my biggest.
Does
bitch
she
fight is,
whisper like you fucking cracker like in bed?
I wish. Like, so the homesteading shit, that's more my wife than it is me. Like she's the typical librarian. Like she's put it this way, she's way more into Tolkien than I am, and I play D&D.
So are you calling her the Tolkien black woman in your life?
Oh, she is absolutely a Tolkien black woman, 100%.
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell her you
J-
said that, and she's
J.R.
gonna beat the fuck
Tolkien?
out too. Look, there's only 3 people in history to trust: C.S. Lewis, Tolkien, and G.K. Chesterton. That's it. Everybody else is full of shit.
What about J.K. Rowling?
Why would you listen to anything she has?
I don't know. Just kidding.
That turf.
Chrissy, before we wrap this up, it's been a blast. You want to plug away?
Oh
and
yeah.
Go over those tour
Um,
dates again, because we'll
Yeah.
see you live.
Let's see. Should I put my website? Let's see. This is StreamYard, right? I can share my
Yeah.
screen. Okay.
Rock and roll. Yep.
I'll be headlining in Staten Island on April 7th, the Reef at Paradise Island. I'll be in Jersey April 8th, Vegas April 27th at the Space, Dallas, Texas at Hyenas Comedy Club May 5th and 6th, Richmond, Virginia, Sandman Comedy Club Wednesday, August 9th, Anime Matsuri August 10th through the 13th. Simcast will be at this convention, and I'm headlining that same weekend, Friday, August 11th at the Secret Group. Get your tickets now, ChrissieMayer.com. You can also watch my show, The Wet Spot, on Compound Media Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern on compoundmedia.com. We got Simcast Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube channel, Rumble, Rockfin, all the places, and interviews multiple times a week, and a morning show that I occasionally do at 10 in the morning.
How did you have
on my
time to do
channel.
this stupid podcast? I mean, it's like you're actually
Today,
got
this
gigs
is
and
my
stuff.
fourth
Like, how
out
does
of
that work?
5. Today I have 5 recordings. This is my 4th one. I just have one more at 10.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm done for
You're
the day.
you're a good sport. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
You
coming
guys
on.
are fun. Thanks for
Really
having
appreciate
me.
it. Yeah, thanks for the follow, and yeah, definitely like to see you live one of these days if you come through Maryland or anywhere
Magoobies.
nearby.
You're all in
Magoo-
Maryland?
Yeah.
Maryland, Nikki P's out in like Cleveland area and Baptist Philly area. So
You got to get to
Cool.
Magoobies Joke House in Timonium. All
I've
the
heard
big
of it.
comics have been there.
Don't do
Well,
it. Don't
That's not
don't
me.
go.
A lot of
Don't
times for these
do it.
clubs, you need like an agent or a manager to help you get in. But yeah, I'll definitely try. I mean, they
or
have
at least
to...
come through with Robbie the Fire. Come on the porch tour. Come on down.
Don't go to
Maryland.
Baltimore.
Robbie.
Just don't go. Just
Yeah.
don't do it.
Timonium's the suburbs. It's fine.
Yeah, but it's been a blast. Thanks again for coming on. We're gonna wrap it
Thanks,
up
Alex.
here.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Just anybody listening, throw us 3 shekels a month, and you can get on our Patreon.
Ooh.
We got T-shirts for sale at libertariancountry.com. They're a sponsor of the podcast. Put in code PRL10, PRL10, you get 10% off. And if you spend 50 or more, you will get you can use code PRL2, and that'll give you 20% off. So until then, give us a follow on Twitter, give us a follow on YouTube, all the medias. And until next time, live free
Or day.